What a cast this movie has. It's very, very heartfelt, and it's very much a love letter to the fans. A bunch of cameos, and then there's some unexpected cameos. If you could wrap that all into a little ball and I could take that on every movie I do, it would be pure perfection. Big production value, a lot of laughs, great love story.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Heart in Motion podcast. I'm so excited to welcome Dustin Rikert back to the podcast. Dustin, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
We got to talk a few weeks ago about A Newport Christmas, and you are back to talk this time about Holiday Touchdown, a Bills love story, which is going to be airing on Hallmark November 22nd, 8/7 Central on Saturday night. I am so excited to talk about this movie, so thanks for coming back.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to talk about this movie. This is one of the highlights of my filmmaking career in a lot of ways. So
you've shared in the past that you guys, your production team worked closely with Hallmark. Sometimes, they will hand you a project. A lot of times you are pitching ideas. Is this an idea that you pitched to Hallmark or one that they asked you guys to do?
this is an idea, actually. So I was lucky enough to executive produce the first Holiday Touchdown, and they reached out to us. We're an East Coast-based company, and when they told us that they were doing a movie about the Bills, it was a natural fit for them, and so they involved us early on with the story, and we met with them. We and the writers in Buffalo. We ended up going and filming at their Christmas. I have to be careful about what I say.
Yeah.
But we ended up doing some filming ahead of time. We met with the writers as they were cracking the story, and we had some roundtables. And so while the network execs and the writers were the main group that came up with it, we were there from the beginning, offering insights and suggestions, and they took a lot of those as well. Very collaborative team over at Hallmark. Great group of execs. The writers did a fantastic job bringing this movie home. So this is one, I guess you could say, we were involved right from the beginning.
That's amazing. So this story centers around two next-door neighbor families who are
Yes.
proud members of the Bills Mafia.
Yes.
What else can you tell us about the story?
Well, I think just based on what's been out in the trades, Matthew Daddario's character has always secretly been in love with his best friend Morgan. He's just never really, dared to tell her. And so there's always been that spark there, and I think he's really, this Christmas season, are really starting to realize it. But and everybody else around him is kind of like, you gotta start going for it. And, going for four, right?
Yeah.
The old touchdown, the old adage. But so it becomes kind of a family affair, but while they're doing that, what happens is they're embroiled in a mystery that centers around Joey Pantoliano's character, Joey Pants. What a cast this movie has. Steve Schirripa, Tracy Pollan, Patty Mirren. There's so many great cast members. Holland Roden is, she's our female lead. Matthew Daddario's our male lead. So a lot of great people in this film. And a lot of cameos. There's almost too many to count. The Bills as a franchise were amazing. To say they were amazing is not even a good compliment.
You need a bigger word than amazing.
I need a bigger word than amazing to say what kind of partner they were on this. There was zero red tape, and it was whatever you need. How can we help? And we had so many players and people from the organization that wanted to be in the movie. In some ways, we ran out of time and had to turn people away. That's how incredible the response was to this movie. Bills Mafia is a real thing. And their fan base every fan base is ravenous, and every fan base is proud of their team. But obviously the Buffalo Bills fan base is storied when it comes to the support of their team. And I don't know if you've ever seen the Netflix, I think ESPN and NFL Films produced it, but I think it's still on Netflix. It's called The Four Falls of Buffalo.
Okay.
If you get a chance to watch The Four Falls of Buffalo, anybody watching this, before you watch Holiday Touchdown. I recommend you do. You'll learn a lot about Bills fandom and Bills culture and the fact that they went the only team to ever go to 4 Super Bowls and they lost. But the way their town, the way their city rallied around that team in the 90s is incredible. Um, the way they rally around their past and present alumnus, maybe that's the better word, is incredible. So I don't need, and then the film commission there, like what they've done for films wanting to come into not just New York State, but the Buffalo area. The film commission was unlike anything I've ever seen. And it's basically 2 guys, Tim and Rich, but you will swear they're like your uncles by the time, like we've had police escorts pick us up and take us to places because we need to locate. It's unlike it's surreal. And I just want to give a big shout out to them because we wouldn't have been able to make this movie without the support from that film commission. And it was a very big in scope project. It's obviously one of Hallmark's tentpole movies for the upcoming Christmas season. Yeah. And I feel like the production value we were able to bring to the screen because of Hallmark's belief in the project, because of the Buffalo Bills organization, because of NFL Films, and of course Skydance, who's a production partner on this. And then of course just the city and the fans. I mean, that was the perfect combination. If you could wrap that all into a little ball and I could take that on every movie I do, it would be pure perfection because it was just an amazing experience.
So having done this for a while, is the Buffalo thing pretty new? I was just talking with somebody the other day and they were like, no, we're filming in Buffalo. Or has Buffalo been around as far as?
Well, Buffalo's been around as a filming location, but they just got a newer tax incentive that was implemented, which adds 10%. I believe it's 10% more for places like Buffalo above the normal New York State tax incentive. So it's really lucrative. It's really appealing to productions looking to maximize their dollar, and it helps. And I love our friends in Canada, but it also helps you compete with what we call the runaway productions that go to Canada. It lets you keep a lot of these films in the States because it brings it on more of an even playing field. So that's exciting too, and they're really booming. There's some huge films filming or about to film in Buffalo as we speak. So they've really worked hard to implement it. New York State as a whole is a great place to film. We've done a fair amount there. We're going to be doing some, this coming year. So we're excited about it.
It's been interesting to see some of the cities and the states that have really kind of like rose to the top recently in the States. And I don't think a lot of people understand sometimes why things film where they film and just all of the budget and the things that go on behind the scenes. So half jokingly, did we decide to film in Buffalo this year because Kansas City was so hot last year?
No. The network decides what teams they're going to partner up with, and it's I should say the network and Skydance and then NFL Films. They're kind of a trifecta that I don't know all that goes into that by the time it comes to us. We've been lucky enough to have them call us up and say, hey, this is the next movie we'd like to do, and will you partner up with us? But one of the things, switching back to just Holiday Touchdown, a Bills love story, is it's very, very heartfelt, and it's very much a love letter to the fans, which is what we try to do with these films, whatever team we're. But it's also, the comedy is great in this movie. The comedic chops of this cast that we've assembled, it's a really fun story. And what I'm super excited about with this particular film is it's going to reach a broader audience because it provides 100% all the feels of a Hallmark movie. But then you've got, the Bills Mafia and the Bills fandom and NFL football, as a whole as well. But then you've got the comedic element to it with what all these, the supporting cast brings to the table. And the great thing about this particular cast is none of them are throwaway parts. They're all very, very fleshed out, and they all play a big role in this. And so they all have scenes, plural, that these characters, they're scene stealers, and every one of them's trying to steal a scene. And that's the fun of a movie like this, where you get to work with this type of talent and what they bring to it every day. And it was a very hard movie to film in that it wasn't just 2 actors all the time. I was on any given day filming 10 actors, in a room or at an event, or and that's a lot of coverage to make sure you film it properly for the production value that we're trying to achieve and the performances that we're trying to get, and be true to what each character is bringing to the table, what each actor is bringing. So it was a tall order, but it was really fun. I'm really excited about what we pulled off. And by the way, Chris Brown, the sportscaster slash radio host, is one of the classiest people you will run into. Nice. As well. So he was so helpful. Steve Tasker's in the movie, and they do a lot together. And there's so many cameos in this particular movie. And one of the things I love about this story is the cameos are not just wedged in.
Yeah.
And that's something that's always hard when you're doing a movie like this. But one of the things that was really fun is Matthew Daddario's character works for the Bills. So everything is very organic to how things play out. And that's one of the things I loved about this particular film is all the cameos are purposeful. They add to the story. Most of them are very funny or very heartfelt. And so they were really a big part of bringing this film to life. Every player that was in it, every ex-player that was in it, every member of their organization that you see. So it was really fun.
And then, of course, Coach Sean McDermott.
Yes.
Got to include him in the project as well.
Oh, yeah. He's first of all, incredibly gracious, incredibly kind, funny, class act. I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say this because his wife is a lovely, lovely lady. And she came to set, and then she came to visit us later on. And she's like, he was working for a whole week on his lines, running them with our son and making sure he got, and I loved hearing that because, he's a perfectionist. He's out there busting his butt, trying to, put a winning product out in that field. But when it came to our movie, he was also wanting to do a great job, probably a little nervous, and he slays it. Like he's got some, I don't want to tell you what his scenes are, but he's fantastic in the movie, and he did a great job, and it shows. But it was just fun to hear that,
Yeah. Maybe he'll have a second career after he gets done coaching NFL, right?
You never know. I have a feeling he'll have a long career, though. He's a heck of a coach.
Yes. What would you say is, for those that saw the Chiefs love story, what would you say is maybe one of those big differences between these two love stories?
Well, so they have the moniker Holiday Touchdown, but we worked very hard to have them be their own unique story. So, the biggest difference is its own. The biggest thing is the biggest similarity is that it's built around a football franchise, a beloved football franchise. After that, it's a completely different story. The tone is completely different of this story. This movie has a very blue collar feel to it. That's, when you think of, they call themselves the city of good neighbors there, but Buffalo has a very blue collar. There's a lot of
industry, right?
Yeah, a lot of industry there. I think they have General Mills or one of the cereal companies. Well, you can smell them making Lucky Charms. So whoever makes Lucky Charms and those Cheerio, you can smell it in the air sometimes, which is amazing. But very industry driven, and that showed. And we tried to put that on the screen. And I think we did a great job of giving the flavor of who the Buffalo Bills fan base is, what they're all about, and what the franchise is about. And I'm really proud of that. So
I love that.
That would be the biggest, each one focuses on what that franchise is and what the city is and what the area is and its own feel and flavor. And that's why I think these are successful, because they're a love letter to whatever team and fan base we're focusing on, while also being a love letter to the Hallmark fan base, because Hallmark never forgets where they came from or what they're about or what lane they're in, and they work really hard to stay true to that. And this movie definitely does that. It's a really fun rom-com.
Somebody that has no interest in football can still show up for this movie. If they love a good friends to lovers story, they're still going to get their Hallmark.
100%. And it's got a lot of heart in it too. And if you want to see actors with great chops and an ensemble cast, tune into this. But you're also going to see a lot of comedy. And this is what I love about this too, is it's also something for, something that the men in the world, not to sound sexist at all, lots of women love football too. In fact, our line producer Molly Mayu, she's a huge Bills fan, so this is like her bucket list, getting to do this movie. But this is something that the spouses can sit down and be like, wow, I'm gonna, not just watch this movie, but see a little bit of football, because there is some football in the movie, and that's what's fun. So
And a lot of them like them. They just now have an excuse to sit down and watch it,
exactly,
right?
exactly, yep, 100%. You'd be surprised how many.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we would go into bars on our off days, and we actually had a bunch of guys buying us drinks. They saw Wes Brown. We went. I mean, if you go to Buffalo, you got to go to the wings, the hot spots for wings. And there was this great place called Gabriel's Gate. It's this little hole in the wall around the corner from where we're staying, but you could get these big drumstick, extra crispy wings with, amazing. So we're in there, and we go to the West one night, and it's like these people come up to us, and it's the guys came up to us with their wives, and the guys are like, "Can we buy you a beer? We love watching the movies. We're not supposed to say that. We watch them with our wives." And it was awesome. It's awesome that it's not like it's okay to say now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's
and these
it.
are like big tough guys. It was really funny.
So you mentioned earlier, all of the intricacies of doing, you're doing a Hallmark movie, but you're also working with an NFL team. What was something that was really a challenge to make this movie?
Well, anytime you're dealing with stadium, there's I, again, can't give away too much, but there's stadium scenes, and you're having to recreate games, recreate crowds. Um, a huge 10-person cast, ensemble cast.
Yeah.
Um, that's really hard. And when you're having to pull all that together in limited windows, and you're dealing with weather, and you're dealing with elements, Buffalo is like many cities. You're dealing with the elements, and sometimes, and the Mother Nature waits for no one, no matter, so
Yeah.
we dealt with the elements and tight filming windows. And that was probably the hardest thing in this particular movie. And then the second hardest thing was whenever you're dealing with an ensemble cast in a limited filming window, that's in people's schedules, that's hard too. So
Yeah. There's a lot of fans that watch this podcast who also watch When Calls the Heart. And as many of them, I've interviewed nearly every director from this past season, and they all say the same thing. Those large scale, everybody's in the room scenes there's so much effort that goes into, and the time that they take to produce something like that.
and in our instance, to not just have it look cookie cutter, like, because sometimes you have to. If you're losing your day, you got to just get this coverage, get that coverage. But one of the things I'm really proud about, and I love to keep the camera moving. So if you watch my films, you'll always see a lot of subtle movement. You won't realize it until you're watching it and push, like, oh, the camera's kind of always drifting, always moving. And so one of the things we tried to do, even with the ensemble scenes, is keep the camera moving, keep the camera moving. We film with Steadicam a lot, and
Yeah.
it kind of gives you that, oh, this is, has a bit more of a stylized feel to it. We try.
Yeah.
We do the best we can with the time we have. So
I always love to ask that question to the director. So you took care of that one for me. What's that signature thing that we can always, kind of count on in your particular projects? So is
for
it
me,
that
it's
the movie?
camera movement, always having some subtle movement, and always trying to have a bit of an interplay and ballet with what we're doing whenever we can.
Yeah. So production, costumes, did you have your same team in this particular movie that you've had in some of the other
Yes,
ones?
yes, we did. We had Daniel King, our production designer, was on it. Keith Costumes was on it. We had our whole line producing team. Um, Andrew Gernhardt, Synthetic Cinema. So we had the same team back. So it was really fun. We had a great executive producer, John Escanis, and Kimberly Bradley. They were executive producers that came on board with us. And it was actually the same Hallmark exec. There were several execs, but we had one, Candice DeLavore. She was with Hallmark, and she was actually on the Newport Christmas movie that we did, and then she was on this one as well.
That's
So
great.
it's really great. You have a shorthand with some of these people, and we work really hard
Yeah.
to try to deliver. So
That's awesome. Does that make it easier, like when you want to do certain things and you've kind of got to get like that green light if
oh
somebody's
yeah,
there?
Well, you have a trust, everybody, the more films you work on together, the more you have a shorthand. But I think there's also equity built up. There's trust built up. I mean, you don't go back to the well and rehire people if you don't trust them or don't like the work they do. So I'm proud to say that we've been working with the network for quite a few years now. But I mean, they have a great group of people. Like I said, they're really really good humans. They care deeply about what they're doing and what they're trying to do over there at that network. And
Yeah.
they're in a tough business because,
Yeah.
they do, I don't know, 80 something movies a year. And I think half of them are Christmas movies, I want to say. I mean, don't hold me to
Yeah.
the exact
Yeah.
math, but something like that. And they're trying to make every one of them fresh and as original as they can with the time and the, whatever's going on that they're working
Yeah.
with. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. So I know you can't give too much away, but is there maybe a fun surprise or unexpected moment that fans can look forward to in this one?
There's some Easter eggs. There's a couple really fun surprises, and there's a couple really fun Easter eggs and cameos. There's a bunch of cameos, and then there's some unexpected cameos, and I think audiences will see unexpected cameos in the movie as well. So, yeah.
That's exciting. Any memorable behind the scenes moments that you can share, something fun or unexpected that happened on set?
Well, I do. Speaking of what you just said,
Yeah.
Abraham Ben Ruby, who's our Santa Claus. I've known Abe for years. I've worked with Abe well before these Christmas movies. He's a great journeyman character actor. This big, burly, 6'7" guy, and he really brings the Santa Claus to these Christmas movies. But he is somebody that when I knew we were doing this and we got him back, it was so fun seeing him arrive to set because he's so happy to be there and he's so happy to be a part of it and he loves what he does so much that he
Yeah.
brings a whole nother element to this movie that I can't talk too much about. But anyway, yeah,
But we will be looking for it,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Favorite moment or moment you're most excited for the audience to see?
Oh man, that's really tough because there's a bunch of them. But I would also
Okay.
say the last 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
probably the last 5 minutes. And then there's a one that's weird it's quirky for me that I love. That's right in the middle of the movie or the first third of the movie.
Okay.
That has more to do with lighting and just the feeling of warmth and Christmas and
Hmm.
nostalgia and the way we shot it and the sound design that we do. And it's nobody would probably look at that and be like, "Oh, that's cool," but for me, in the way we designed it, there's a shot, a couple shots, a scene in there that I just
Yeah.
love, 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 love. So
And it's okay. I mean, I mean, you don't want those things to just like glaringly hit us. You want it to just to feel natural. But for
yeah,
you, those are those things that keep you motivated to keep
yeah.
going. And, you know, we all want that in our careers, right? Something just to keep us going, the
Oh
fresh.
yeah, and the production design and production value of this movie, between the costumes and Daniel King took it to another level in terms of the locations he helped us find and the way he and his team set decked them and just and that it definitely shows. Scope is big for us and it's something we harp about. You've heard me on past probably interviews and podcasts talk about it. Production value and scope and the overall mise en scène of the whole thing is super important to us as a company to
Yeah.
have the film feel as elevated as possible. So, and it all goes, I mean, everything feeds into everything else. Cinematography. Brandon Maxim is a great cinematographer. He's great at shaping the light. He has a gaffing background uh, before he moved into to being a director of photography and working with Daniel and our set team and everything. And then
Yeah.
of course costumes and just the way we're able to bring this movie to life it feels really rich and feels good. So and
So,
we had to with visual effects make it appear like there's 6 to 8 inches of snow on the ground because that's a Buffalo Christmas, baby.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, was it easier than Kansas City when it was, what, 90 some degrees? Or was it a
Yes.
whole nother weather element?
Um, there was a whole nother early on. There was a whole nother weather element when it came to, but no, it was definitely easier than the 100 degree. We happened to get some unusually hot weather in
Yeah.
Kansas City when we filmed that movie.
Yeah.
We got great weather, perfect Christmas weather for this. Not too cold, but cold enough to have, but also um, really perfect weather, other than a couple stormy days we had to kind of just get through. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Most heartwarming moment in the movie for you?
Oh man, there's several. There's
Okay.
several, and I can't really say too much because of the way the love story's built. But there's multiple love stories that happen in this movie,
Oh.
and there's also there's multiple love stories, but just the love of the families for each other, the love of friendship, and the love of next door neighbors, and really the love of a community for their team
Yeah.
plays a huge part in this movie. And I think that's going to shine through. And I think whether you are or not, whether you're a football fan or not, a Bills fan or not, you're going to watch these characters in this movie and have a better appreciation um, for the team and the Buffalo fandom as it sits. Your heart truly does ache for them in some ways, and you want to root for this team and this community, by the time you watch this movie. So.
That's another thing that we've noticed that Hallmark has really pushed over the last few years is this idea of those stories can be more than just about these two leads. We've seen that with the groomsmen, with the friends. We've seen that, with the wedding veil, with the friends. So the family dynamic, the friendships, love that Hallmark has really expanded what that love story is really about.
100%. And there's always what we call the A love story, but the B and C story arcs, trying to flesh those out more too, is
Mhm.
super important to us. So
So I asked this question about Newport Christmas. What are 3 words you knew I was going to ask to describe this particular movie?
3 words. One of them I'm going to do a hyphen. So
Oh, you
it's
can
a
do that. Yeah.
pure Buffalo, um, hilarious, heartfelt.
Good. Those are 3 completely different words from your other project that you
Yep.
shared. So
Yep.
that's exciting. Okay, well, just to recap, everybody, a holiday touchdown, a Bills love story is going to be airing on Hallmark Saturday night, November 22nd, 7 Central. We're going to be able to watch it the next day on Hallmark Plus. Dustin, you've got another movie that's going to be coming out in a couple of months as well on Hallmark, correct?
Yes, Lost in Paradise. It's with Lacey Chabert. It's a really fun island movie, and
Okay.
it's a really really fun comedy romance film. It was a pleasure to film. We filmed it on location, 100% in Fiji, and it does not disappoint. Big production value, a lot of laughs, great love story.
Well, hopefully you will be able to come back with your team and we can talk about that one and hear all about the amazingness of that movie as well. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Look forward to it.
All right.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye bye.